So many different areas of the Lions' loss to Seattle that we could attack. Seahawks beat Detroit 37-31 in overtime. They win the coin toss, go right down the field, and score a touchdown. Was Aiden Hutchinson held on that final play?
Hell yeah.
We could talk about that, and the answer is probably yes. But when you get 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 1 quarterback hit, and the 1 quarterback hit was really not even it wasn't even a fair one. It was that Anzalone one, that big loss at the end of the.
Yep.
That's not.
It wasn't
really,
a quarterback.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. Yeah.
So we should have got rid of the ball.
No doubt. So, I think that the big conversation that you'll ask yourself today is that loss on Dan Campbell. One of the talking points and discussion points that we, Braylon, have talked about for months is what area of the game would you like to see Dan Campbell improve upon in year 3 here? Situational football, time management, the clock.
In the game.
And the gambler weighing when to gamble or not.
Risk versus reward.
So I want you, because you say yes, Dan Campbell did cost the Lions a victory. I want you to expound upon that, and then Maz, I'll come to you, and we'll just circle back here.
I'll start you off. For me, Dan Campbell's a guy that takes a risk. He's a gambler, and this is what we've known about him. This is what we've hated about him, and sometimes this is what we've loved about him at times. Seemed like last year he started to get a pulse on when to gamble, when to go for, and when not to towards the end of the season. Early on in the season, you saw what he did against Arrowhead. Went for it, got it. It seemed well. This is who he is. In the game against Seattle, he goes for it. Didn't think it was an exceptionally good call, but he went for it. Didn't get it, but hey, this is who Dan Campbell is. So I don't necessarily have a problem with it when you do that. But at the end of the game, when you start to question who you are, you're a guy that goes for it. You're a guy that goes for the touchdown. Now all of a sudden, at the end of the game, with 2 minutes and three timeouts, you want to play smooth. You want to play chill. You want to play for the field goal. You want to play to hope you get to give yourself a chance just to know you're at least getting into overtime. They have to go down and kick a field goal. I didn't like it because he changed who he was when the moment was on the line. You can't have a guy be your leader that in the clutch moment second guesses who he is. And I feel like that was a moment where Dan Campbell second guessed who he truly is by nature, and he went to the other side and it cost the Lions.
Before I say what I got to say, he did speak after the game yesterday, and he did speak on the final drive and why he did what he did. Let's listen to this first, then I got you.
I wanted to take it as it came, and here's what I knew. They had 2 timeouts, and I did not want to give that ball back. That was number 1, do not give this ball back. Number 2, can we get down there far enough to score a touchdown? But and so I already had in my mind, if we get it to a certain point on 4th down, we will go for it. If not, we won't. So kick the field goal. I felt like our chances were really good in overtime, and it didn't work out.
I'm sorry. Wrong. It was a horribly executed last drive of the game. You cannot have that much time on the clock, all your timeouts in your pocket, and feel you're going to win in overtime. You had them on the ropes. You had them.
And man,
put them away.
And they started off with 23 yards in 2 plays.
Yes.
Started off with 13. You followed up with 11, and then here comes 5. Here comes 5. Here comes Dink. Here comes. Come on, you started off with 23 yards.
I kept saying, and I was like yelling at Broder and Terry. I'm like, why aren't they rushing? Why aren't they hurrying? They're just letting the clock. They're pissing the clock away. And they were like, well, they got plenty of time. I'm like, no, it don't look like they know what the hell they're doing. I think he lost track of the freaking time again. I do.
Can I play that one more time?
Please.
Yeah. Because there's one piece of this that I want to attack.
Go ahead. And I love Dan Campbell.
Right, yeah, no.
I'm pissed at him.
It is.
But I love him.
It is so incredible because I want you to hear exactly what he says and then juxtapose that with how he played it. Go ahead.
I wanted to take it as it came, and here's what I knew. They had 2 timeouts, and I did not want to give that ball back. That was number 1, do not give
out of it. It's fine.
We'll start it again.
Oh. Do we have? No, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the audio on it. It's fine. But the piece in there that I wanted to replay for you again was I didn't want to give the ball back to Seattle there.
Yeah.
Which is why you go win the game with a touchdown.
What are you banking on, the coin flip?
I mean, if you don't want, that's the part about this.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm not killing Dan Campbell for the 4th down call.
Me neither.
With the lead.
I'm not.
4th and 2 with the lead at his own. Now, ultimately, that acted like a turnover as well. Seattle took the ball, scored a touchdown, and they took the lead. So you could count that turnover on downs as
that is a turnover.
Turnover against
sorts.
the Lions. Now, you won't see it in the box score as points off turnover, but it should be. That was a big part of it. But you can't root for him when he's going for fake field goal or fake punts on the 17-yard line and gets it. And then he doesn't get it this time. He's not going to be 100% on those calls.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't have a problem with that.
Exactly. He's not going to be. There's no 100% here on 4th downs. But the end of the game, you have got to go win that game. A minute and 44 to go with 3 timeouts. It's not even a question. And especially the way, Bray, as you mentioned, the first 2 plays got some chunk yards.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
So I don't understand what the thought process was if you are coming out there adamant saying, I didn't think we can give Seattle the ball back. Well, think about it. If you score a touchdown there, how much are you up? 28 to 20. What was the score at the time? 24-21.
24-21.
24-21.
31-21.
So, no.
You would have been up 31-21 had you gone down and scored.
Right, so it's 24-31.
I'm sorry.
24-21. You said it right, right?
Oh, yeah. Now Maz is screwing me up here.
24-21. If they score, it's 31-21.
Okay, so yes.
Right.
Okay, so it's 31-28. This is where I'm at now. So it's 31-28. If you score a touchdown there,
yes,
and Seattle gets the ball back, what's the score now?
35-31.
Thank you. How much is that?
That's a 4-point lead.
And how much do you get for a field goal?
3.
Seattle had to go down and score a touchdown with 30 seconds to go in the game?
And no time.
And no time, one timeout left?
Yeah.
So if you think that they have a better opportunity to score with, they needed a touchdown. So it's not like they could get the ball and come down and win it with a field goal. They would have had about 30 seconds to go in the game and a timeout to have to score a touchdown against you. I will never understand that, but I do not believe Dan Campbell cost him the game. Do you know what cost him the game? Turning the ball over.
Turn the ball over.
Yesterday, in week 2 of the NFL, there have been 14 completed games dating back to Thursday. One game had no turnovers in it, but do you know how many times in the 13 games, the team that won the turnover battle, do you know how many of those teams won the game?
All of them.
10 of them. 10-3. It is the most important statistic in football.
Right.
The turnover battle. Who wins it? Especially when you're playing a team like Seattle, a playoff team. You cannot give them extra possessions. Not only that, and I don't count the St. Brown turnover, the fumble at the last play, the first half.
Right.
That I don't know if he was trying to make a play there or what, lateral, whatever he was trying to do.
It wouldn't have mattered
on a
for
Hail
anything
Mary,
anyway,
right? But the Montgomery fumble, the pick 6, and that Dan Campbell turnover on 4th and 2 in your own zone. The Detroit Lions gave Seattle 21 of the 31 points that they scored in regulation. This football team is fine. This football team is good. This football team should have won that game. 21 of the 31 points were free. If they can just clean that up alone, this is going to be a really good season.
I understand that and I agree with that to a certain extent. In terms of Dan Campbell, he second guessed himself in terms of how they did the clock management. I believe also because he saw Jared Goff throw an interception for the first time in Lord knows how long, and you had a couple fumbles in there, it kind of changed the way he played it. Then he probably wanted to play a little more, have us play conservative.
And Amon-Ra was a little hobbled.
Exactly. I don't want to necessarily call a play, take a chance, throw another interception or fumble. So I can understand that aspect to it a little bit. And maybe I throw that caveat in there. If Jared Goff doesn't throw an interception for a pick six and you don't have those turnovers, maybe Dan Campbell plays different. Maybe the play calling is a little different on that drive. Maybe they really do go for it as opposed to trying to play conservative. All of those saying, hey, we didn't want to give the ball back to him, which is what you did.
And Maz, you said it too, that you had Seattle on the ropes. It felt like if this game went to overtime that the Lions were not going to win it. Oh. They had Houston out, Vitae out, Montgomery out. Kirby Joseph was out and came back in. GJ was out and came back in. Jerry Jacobs was getting torched. We could talk about that again. And
Tyler Lockett's pretty good, though.
Exactly.
I got to say this. The O-line, they missed Taylor Decker huge yesterday. And then when Vitae goes down, they really, on that fourth down when they missed the play, the O-line, I mean, he was getting chased, man. Jared Goff wasn't comfortable yesterday as usual. That's when I looked at the O-line yesterday as they had a C game. I'll give him a C grade at most. And David Montgomery injures his thigh. He says, I'm going to be out a couple of weeks today. Just a couple of minutes ago, Dan Campbell's like, oh, well, he's going to be day to day.
That's another thing I want to talk about, yes.
Day to day. It's players speaking out.
Right.
Oh, I'm out. No, you're not. You're not out. I'll tell you if you're out. But the O-line yesterday, to me, did not do what they usually do. And you know what? They were down their guy. They were down Taylor Decker. It affected them.
And the O-line of the other team has done what they usually do 2 weeks in a row. They have blocked for their quarterback. Listen,
with two guys out,
Patrick Mahomes didn't get touched in the ground. I mean, some quarterback hurries, a couple quarterback hits, but he was not sacked. You allowed Geno Smith yesterday to do the same thing he did last year. He wasn't touched, and he's like a Jared Goff type quarterback. When you leave him untouched, he will pick you apart, and that's what Geno Smith started doing. They have to find a way to get to the quarterback. I don't want to hear excuses about who's offsides, who's getting held. You got to get to the quarterback in this league. In the league now where quarterbacks are so efficient, quarterbacks are so good, at least the ones on good teams, you got to keep them off track. You got to get to them. Because when you play with them off track, look at Jared Goff. He's running a little different, makes them throw passes. They're a little off, gets one pick six. You got to be able to get to the quarterback and keep them off track.